Hi guys, we are back. Just going to give everyone just a minute or so just to join in as well, and then we're going to get cracking with day 2 of our Introduction to Classic Contemporary Creative Cutting course. Hey guys, just going to take some sections. Hey everybody. Okay. Here's a couple more clips to actually demonstrate how this works. That's cool. Hey guys, I'm just taking some sections. I'm going to go through my head sheet in just a few minutes as well. Hi everyone. Welcome. Just let me know the music sounds, everything okay? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Give me a shout. Cool. Great. I'm just taking a little bit of sections, guys, actually. Oh, great, thank you. I'm just going to take some more sections, actually, as I wait for who's joining to join. That's cool. And then I'm going to explain how this all works. Right. Actually, just take that again. Yeah, that's great. Hi guys. Hi, I'm going to get cracking. So today, we're moving on away from classic cutting to contemporary cutting. And by contemporary, what I mean is classics, like bobs and layers and graduation and layers and lines, and adding a contemporary twist onto them, which is what we're going to do today. So yesterday I did this lovely classic bob. This was the bevel bob that I did from yesterday. She is still here as well, as you can see. A little bit of soft graduation through the bottom line as well, that was yesterday. But we're going to take this and we're going to do it in a really contemporary way. So I'm actually going to add layering with graduation in a variety of different methods to create something that's got a bob-like shape, but it's got a contemporary twist. Tongue-tied. Okay guys, I'm just going to turn you around. Oh, here we are. Hi. Right, here's my head sheet for today. So this is the contemporary bob. You can see my cutting key is here. Major section, subsection, direction of hair, and the line cut. We're going to graduate below the nape, below the occipital bone. Apologies. And then we're going to flat layer the back. So we're going to create a really tight shape at the back that's graduated into, hi Brie, into the back of their neck. And then we're going to flat layer it through. Through the sides and through the top, we're also going to flat layer. So we're going to flat layer through the side panels and top above the parietal bone. You'll see here, these two little sections here and here, these are two panels which will be disconnected from the interior shape. They'll only connect to the perimeter length. This is the section in through the back, so the graduation below occipital will be pivoting diagonal forward sections elevated to graduation angle. And then we're going to do vertical sections elevated at 90 degrees. So this will be graduated, this will be flat layered. So square graduation, flat layering. The disconnected panel, which we saw through this section earlier, is located here, and I've already pre-sectioned it. This section will be connected to the length, but then it will be disconnected from its interior shape. And I will demonstrate this during the cutting process and also at the end. You'll see clearly, even though it looks complex, it's not, it's dead easy. But it creates a really interesting dynamic. These are our quiz questions today to Pivot Point learners. They're live now as well, so they're true, false questions, answers. So contemporary haircut should only be recommended to fashionable people. Wow. I'm going to be giving away the answers throughout this demonstration to these 5 questions for those that are actually going to be doing it. And this is our lovely block today. Okay, right, I'm going to turn you around. Oh, shot of me. That's horrible. Too close, too close. Okay, guys, and we're back. All right, so starting at the back, I'm going to graduate this, square graduation, flat layer this, I'm going to flat layer this, I'm going to flat layer this. These two panels here, and I'm going to disconnect those from the interior, but I'm going to connect them to the perimeter. What it'll give me a really cool flat layered bob with two side panels that will sit out. So they can be ruffled or curled to sit in all different textures, or smoothed and they will become invisible. We call this invisible disconnection. So it's disconnection in the haircut that we can't actually see until it is provoked in a certain way. It's a really great way to add a creative element to what is typically a classic haircut, which is what we're going to do today. I'm going to work wet to dry, so I'm not really going to be dampening the hair down as we go. Reason being is because we know now, well, we don't know, actually, I'm just hearing it online that maybe we won't be using hairdryers straight away when we first return to salon. We don't know if hairdryers are going to be permitted. Again, nothing's been confirmed. This is just what I'm hearing online. A lot of people are talking, and I'm seeing a lot of hairdressers starting to work wet to dry. So I thought, well, I'll do some to show you, because we don't know how much drying we'll be able to do. I'm taking the central section through the back, like this. Can you see? Through here and through here. I'm going to totally go against what I just said a moment ago. I'm just going to put a little bit of water on. Just because I want the sections to be clean. I am demonstrating, but you can do this wet to dry as well. Okay. So that's my first section here. I'm going to turn it on its side. I'm going to angle at 45 degrees approximately. And I'm going to cut as well. Can everyone see? That's great. Lovely angle there, I think we've got going on. I'll try my best to make sure you can see. I can always move and cut through. I only cut to my knuckles. I don't cut past my knuckles, because you won't be able to get enough tension on the hair. I'm actually going deep into there now. I'm cutting through. And this is going to give me that really soft graduated edge as well. So that's the first section there, already cut in. You can see the angle of it. It's graduated into the side. So we'll actually just clip that away for a sec to show you. Right, so that's the angle that we're actually creating. This is graduation. Now, these are contemporary haircuts. Can anyone have a temporary haircut, or are they just for fashionable people? Of course anyone can have a contemporary haircut. Contemporary is for everybody. You don't have to be fashionable to have one as well. And I think that's really important to add. Don't necessarily think, when it comes to consultating, that you're that contemporary and high fashion haircuts are just for those that are high fashionable. We can all have contemporary elements in our haircuts. So this section was straight. These sections will pivot like this, and like this, and like this. Should I use my yellow comb? Where's my yellow comb? I can't find it. Right here, I can. Yeah, I think that's better. I'm just seeing what... no, this is better. Sorry guys, I'm messing around today. Right, pivoting. So I'm going to pivot the sections on a diagonal forward. This will help me build up the square shape. So we want to build up a corner here. We don't want to take it too close, because otherwise it will go too short as well. Okay, so diagonal forward sections. That'll go diagonal forward, diagonal forward, diagonal forward, diagonal forward, until they become fully horizontal. I'm just going to use a clip here, because I want to clearly show you how the sectioning works. Would I do that in salon? No, I wouldn't be messing around with so many clips. I don't use many clips actually when I'm cutting hair. I only do them when I'm teaching hair, because I want you to clearly see how the angle works. So there, we can see the angle. I'm just cutting through. I'm going to bring it down slightly and try and get a bit of a closer angle to the screen. Hi everyone. There we go. That'll be a bit more comfortable for me as well. Oh, I think that's going to be better. But am I going to be able to... Oh, I need to get there. Oh, my back. I'm an old man. So as well, what I'm doing as well is I'm directing that section back to the previous. So I'm working on the diagonal forwards, and every time I start a section, I direct it back to the last one. What this does, it gradually builds up length and weight in the sides, which is what I actually want. So that's the actual section I'm looking at here. So then again, diagonal forward. Look, they go more diagonal forward every time until you actually reach this totally flat horizontal shape. And again, what I'm going to do here is again tilt my fingers out to a graduation angle and then cut to accommodate the guide. So direct it back towards its previous section as shown. Look, it's not being pulled directly from where it grows. You pull it back to previous, and all I'm doing there is just going through. And a section of this length will take me about 3 goes to cut, because again, I don't cut past my knuckles. As soon as I get to my knuckles, I stop, I retake the section. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to actually show you how this section actually works by cross-checking it. So I'm just going to take sections horizontally and I'm just going to check them and refine them. So by checking the sections horizontally, you can clearly see that I'm building out this square shape. It's not round, it's square as well. So it's building out this lovely square shape as well. I'm just going to check these using horizontal. As well. When you get to the corners, sometimes you can find you've either built up too much weight or you've not built up enough as well. If you've built up too much, like you can see, we're building up a square shape here. You can already see it appearing. That's good. If you've rounded it off though, you may run the risk of taking it too short. But it really just depends on what you're actually going for. Just going to retake this section above it. Keep in mind the time. Right, we're doing well. Right, yeah, that's the section there. So, as you can see, I'm just moving it away. And then again, I'm going to direct it back towards its previous. And then just cut. And then again, the last section, I always do it slightly lower. So I wouldn't be high up like this, I'd be lower as well, because it just helps me build up something to work with at the sides. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and refine. And then I'm going to demonstrate to you how that works. And you can see here what we've built up is this square shape as well, which is going to sit nice and tight through that section. I'm just going to refine the outline now at a 1 finger's depth graduation. So I'm just refining that outline. I chose at a 1 finger's depth graduation because it will just add a nice light bevel to the edge as well. And then again, just go through. This is horizontal sections. Put at a graduation angle as well. So that's the shape we're building here. You can see it. It's square, so it gets longer towards this edge, so when we can continue this through the sides as well. And then we'll have the disconnected panel through here. I'm just going to tailor this a little bit, because again, what I feel is maybe what I actually wanted to create is still a little bit too long. So this is when you can make those crucial decisions on whether or not you're going to achieve with what you were looking for. Yeah, this is much better. Yeah, that's more what I wanted as well. And again, when you're working on your first panels, your first sections, your first quadrant, you know, that's going to be the deciding factors, guys. So if you really think to yourself, like, you know, I've got to get through this. I've got to work through. Yeah, lovely. Okay, same on the opposite side. I think this is going to be the best angle to do it on. I'll try. So what I'm going to do here, can you see what I did? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my section with my comb, pull it apart. I place my finger there, like that. Then I get my comb and then I comb the section that I'm going to cut, and then once the comb's in, I can drop that away and then take the section. It means that you don't really have to mess around with your sectioning clips too much. I only did that for the purposes of this demonstration, but that's how I actually do it. That's how I actually do it. I'll demonstrate that all the way through this section to show you a little bit further. There we go. That's great. Just checking it with the other side as well, because this is the first section I'm actually taking through to the opposite side. And again, we're working on that horizontal side. So I'm taking that section there that I'm not cutting. This is the section I'm now cutting. I'm just combing it a couple of times. When I feel it's ready, I can drop that section. I can put my hands in this section and then I can cut. And then I know that I've taken a really nice clean section, and that section is still there, so I can actually just retake what I was cutting. I don't necessarily have to worry about messing around with too many clips, because the more clips you mess around with, the more complex you're making the haircut. And as well, if you can actually eliminate the need for clips as much as possible, then you're just breaking the haircut down into its absolute necessities, you know, to its superfluous. That word I can't ever say properly. But it basically means what's absolutely necessary in order to create beautiful things, which is what we're aiming for every day. Just taking that section, I'm just going to comb it away. I can feel there's something here. Yeah, can you see that little bump there? Just going to go through. Just going to tailor that. As well. Cool. Last section directed back towards your previous. The graduation elevation. Taking at a graduation angle. I can't tell you exactly what angle that is, because I've not got a protractor in my hand. It's a feeling more than anything. I then take horizontal sections across to check the diagonal vertical sections I just took as well. And again, what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm just refining. You don't ever take off any more than 1/4 centimetre in the refinement stage. If you're taking off any more than that, it means that you've actually cut it wrong. You need to go back to what you were doing. Yeah, I like that shape. I'm rounding the corner slightly because I actually find it will just give me a slight softness, but it's only ever so slight and it will actually transform. I'm now going to take sections that actually measure the whole section through as well. Through there. That's great. Lovely. Happy with that. I'll refine the outline of it later. I'm just going to direct the section out the opposite way from where I cut it. You'll see a corner is revealed, and then I'm just going to refine that. That's just going to give me a slight roundness to the shape, but more like, if it was going to be technical, that's squoval. It's square, but it's got slight beveled edges, as I don't want it too square. But that's just something I'm just doing for this haircut. It's not something you would do for every haircut. But again, it's about building these techniques in your repertoire, being able to round the square whilst keeping it square. Sounds a bit like double Dutch, that, doesn't it? Trust me, it actually works. Cool. That's great. Right, next section. Section above it. So that's graduated into the nape. Section above it will be flat layered all the way through, and the underneath top will act as the guide. So we'll take the very top of this graduation that we've created, which is here, and then we'll flat layer from that point. So we'll build out length, but it'll be flat layered. Flat layering is the slimmest layering you can do on hair. It actually takes out the most weight, really, as well, because it's flat to the head. So it will create a very slim, hugging effect as well. Tiny bit of water, but again, I am reducing the amount of water I typically would use because, again, we don't know what's going to be happening in terms of dry use. So again, I'm flat layering all the way through. I only cut to the knuckle. I don't cut that bit because that I've got no control over. Can you see? I can just pull it in and out quite freely through my fingers. I can't grip it. It's impossible. Your fingers aren't designed that way. So you have to retake the section and go up and through. I'm going to try and come a bit closer. Oh, sorry guys, something's in my way. Apologies. What time are we on? 21 minutes past. Right, let's rock. I think that's kind of cool, that angle. Oh, sing, let there be light. Preferably not on my face. Such a strong light. So as you can see, I'm going through and I'm flat layering. Look, it's flat to the head. That's what we mean by flat layering. It builds out length up here and keeps it slim down here. So I'm just going to go back through and double, triple check that because this is my guide. These sections will also be directed back towards the previous section, building up a little bit more length and weight in the side panels. Okay, like that. So you can see what that's going to create. I think I can I catch the light? Oh, it's funny lighting today, I don't know what's going on. Ah, you can kind of see it there. Right, I'm going to crack on anyway, so you can see actually the angle that I'm taking. So this next section directs to the one I've just cut. And that's what we mean when we say back to previous. So I've got to take the next section into the previous one and still keep that flat line, so flat to the head. We also have a tendency to angle our fingers down and that will create a ridge. Keep them high and it will create the slimmest effect. Even to the right last hair, because that's when you'll get that beautiful slim shape. So the first section that I cut will be pushed away because I don't need that anymore. I only need the section that I just cut as my guide. And now take this section and direct it back towards the section I've just cut. And the same line is cut in the same fashion. So we call this back to previous. And you have to check that you are directing it to the right place. I always have a tendency to over-direct too much. And I just leave it too long. I mean, I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing because you don't want to take hair too short, do you? But at the same time, you don't want to just keep going over your work constantly, correcting yourself. So that's always something I have to be really cautious of, like making sure that I don't continuously over-direct the hair too much as well. And I'm just dropped that last section out. I only have the previous section in and I can clearly see my guide. You must clearly be able to see your guide. And again, I'm just working through. Now what I can do is I've got enough to actually check using horizontals. So I'm going to take some horizontals through here now. That I'm building out a square shape. And I've over-directed a little bit too much just on this edge. I'm going to show you that actually. So when I pull this out, it's just a little bit too long towards these edges here. So I'm just going to make sure I am keeping it square and then I'm not over-directing the hair too much. I need to take that section as well, and you just want to refine just anything that's sort of coming out of your intended shape and style. This is from the other side, that's fine. As well, and I'm just checking that everything is blended in. That's great. Nice and flat. So it's very head hugging, can you see? It sits really nice and flat. Really good for thick hair. Really, really super good for thick hair, this kind of cut. Because again, sometimes if you just did like a classic graduated barb, you wouldn't necessarily get the angle that you wanted, because you'd end up probably building up too much weight and it'd look a bit mushroomy. So sometimes by layering it flat, you actually get a much better shape that's better for the client to style. Hi everybody that's joined. Hope you've been enjoying our little cutting course. I'm going to put my head sheet on later as well. I'm just going to make sure that this is sitting in nice and flat. This always have a second comb. I will of course disinfect that later with Barbicide. Just going to check that through. That's cool. There we go. I'm just refining. I'm just going to go through this section now and just double triple check that everything's blended into the underneath shape. I'm going to take a couple of horizontals now to check your view. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to lift this up square to meet the flat layer in the top after as well, so, but again, I want to keep it flat. There's a couple of highlights in here as well that, you know, that might not necessarily blend in, can you see? Sort of into that shape afterwards, but I'm just ignoring those. So this section is pulled flat to the back, to that back square. So as you can see, this is the angle, pulled flat back. Now I'm going to show you how I'll pull the front. Don't cut that because it's in your knuckle, behind your knuckle. You won't get the right shape. Take that up and through. And again, ensure that it has met. Everything is fully blended. So I'm just going through and doing that double, triple check. And that's the shape. So it's like very, very flat layered through here. It's a little bit more built weight into the side because we're going to build a slightly longer bob through the back as well. I'm just going to check this through now. Like so. Again. Lift through. And just make sure you super refine anything that's not going to sit into the bob. Now the front section, which I'm onto here, will also be flat layered. How do we know what the guide is? Well, the guide is here. This is the guide that we've just literally just cut. I do need to wet it slightly because otherwise we're not going to get the same haircut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first section. I'm going to take the last section. I'm then going to pull it flat out from where it grows. I'm going to check the guide. And then I'm going to cut a flat line. So this is flat layering, flat to the head. All the way through here. This will create a really flat shape. Through here, and again what I'm going to do is I'm going to come this way and I'm going to really flat layer. When I reach the ear on this section, which is just coming up now, I'm then going to pull the other sections in front of it to it, so I'm going to pull everything back, which will leave a little bit more length in the front. Like so. Yeah, I'm creating what I want now. So these sections in front of the ear are pulled back We call this a stationary guideline. It means it's not travelling around the head anymore. It allows us to build up length and weight in certain areas. When we stop moving around the head and pull hair towards us, the hair that we're pulling furthest away will be the longest. And I obviously don't want to take it too short in the front. I want a little bit of softness. So I am pulling it back. And I'm going to show you that angle before I drop this. So that was the angle. Can you see? It was pulled all the way back there. So now when we drop it, it will build something in the front. So we get this shorter, softer shape. We're going to refine all this later and make this a little bit tighter in here. But we get this shorter shape, and then these disconnected pieces will sit over it and refine it, and then we'll get a really playful looking shape. I'm just going to see how much direction I've applied. I'm going to actually take that a little bit shorter as well. I don't want it too angular. I think that's a little bit too over-directed. So I'm just going to go back through. I'm just going to refine that a little bit more. I think it's too long in the front. There we go. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I'm much more happy with that as well. As you can see, that shape as well. Okay, same on the opposite side. Flat layered through here. I'll be a bit closer. There we go. Through here, what time are we on? 32, we're not too bad. Flat layered. You can see the guide clearly. Very well established guide. Cut to the knuckle stop. Retake the section so it's further down in the fingers. Therefore you've got greater tension. And just work that through. Next section. Last section. Hold them together. Pull this section towards the previous section. Cut the flat line. See your guide. If you can't see your guide, stop what you're doing. Go back to where you can see your guide and start again. Don't just guess. We've all made that mistake. Never ends well. Just going to check for some horizontals before I carry on. And I'm going to check by doing some technical assessments and a visual assessment. So this is visual, I'm looking, hi, I'm looking there, hi guys. And then this technical, where I'm actually pulling things out. And then this cross-checking, where I'm actually using the opposite sections in the opposite direction to make sure that I am actually creating that very, very flat shape as well. Obviously with these highlights in there as well, it makes it look a bit patchy. It's not really the colour that I would do. These highlights need toning out as well. So direct back towards previous, flat layer continued. You can see the guide as well. And just pull that back, flat. Just going to go in here. I can see a little bit that's not connected from the underneath. Just going to go through. It'll stand out to you quite clearly, any bits that don't connect in. And just go in and investigate further. And just dust as you go along. By dusting, what I mean is take out fractions of hair, just to make sure you get that fully refined shape. Okay, so we're now working through. Last section here, flat. That's the bottom. There, you can see. Flat layer through this section here. Excuse me. And then just work that through. We'll make an assessment now. Assess that visually. And just refine. And now what I'm actually doing is I'm making assessment of both sides together. So that's what we're actually looking at here. We're making an assessment of both these sides together now as well. And I'll go through and super refine that at the end as well. Like I need to connect all the perimeter edges in this haircut as well. Okay, same on the opposite side. We're going to flat layer through. Just going to get the angle for you. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm just going to go through, just dampen this section down a little bit. Not too much though. Hi Liv. Nice to see you guys. We're looking forward to being back in the training school at some point soon. Okay, so I'm going to go through, I'm going to flat layer this section, yeah? Through there. And then I'm just going to make sure that it does connect fully. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just assess it from one side to the next. Can you guys see that? Make sure you can. Just to make sure that I am creating something that's symmetrical. Right. Pull this back towards the previous. Anyone got any questions? Feel free to ask. I'm just going to go back through and check that bit, that cut then, because it was behind my knuckles, so it won't be right. I'm going to make that visual assessment. I'm just assessing visually here. Created. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually taking points and then I'm measuring them onto the face. I use the face as the benchmark to make sure that I've achieved even symmetrical sections. It's got a mass load of lift here, it pushes right back. It's just because of the way it's been stitched. So I'm actually going to blow that out because that wouldn't be a characteristic you would find. Well, in 20 years of hairdressing I've never found that. Not so wild in that one section, so I think it's just the way it's been woven. I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to refine these sections through here. Again, sometimes your blocks will do irregular things as well. So again, what we want to do is just make sure that we understand that. You know, some of the things we do for blockhead design work is not what we do for actual clients. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to release these two disconnected panels. Here they are. So this will be the panel that will connect just to the outline shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosely connect it through to the shape. Just going to actually have to subdivide this because it's quite too big really. So I'm going to take this. this is the panel that's going to have interior disconnection through it. So it's just a normal bob until we reach this section. And then what I'm going to do is then connect this through. And then that's going to give me strength, a little bit more strength to this line at the front. Because obviously we did quite flat layer through. Taking into account the protrusion of the ear as well. So we are still going to end up with this like really cute bob shape. But what we've got interesting elements of disconnection that we can then utilise later to create something really fun. And then I'm going to take this section here and I'll blend that through as well. Again, I'm going to relax the tension that I'm using by going with the wide teeth of the comb. Because again, I've got a lot of root lift here. I can really see it coming through. So what that gives me this really super strong line on this really beautiful short bob, you see. And then what I'm going to be able to do afterwards is then refine this by really sort of, you've got this like really cool piece. You'll see it when I style it afterwards. I'm going to come off camera, style it, come back, refine it, and then I'll video it as well for any of you guys that are going to be having your dinner soon. Because it's getting to 5 o'clock in it, I'm getting a bit hungry. So I know that all of you will be able to stay on with me, but yeah, so cool, there'll be another session that'll shortly meet this one afterwards as well. I'm just loosely connecting it through as well. I have the opportunity to carve a little bit more of a defined shape here as well. I'm just doing a visual assessment. And again, you can see I'm just going to pull everything towards the front. Yeah, that's great. So cool. Love it. Last section as well. Oh, I missed a little bit. Just going to take that in. Apologies. Just got loads of root lift. Can you see on this side as well? I'm glad I relaxed the tension a little bit there. I'm going to blow some of that out though on this occasion because this block isn't actually wound very well. Sometimes, you know, it's a bit of a mess sometimes with blocks as well. So I'm going to take this back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually comb it back because these are going to remain disconnected as well. So what I'm going to do is now work a flat layer through this section. I'm going to just take the back as the guide. So that flat layering that I did through the back, I'll lift up, I'll round off the corner, because you always get slight rounding off that corner through there. And then work through. I'm going to take this, and this is now going to be connected into that back section. So I'm just going to take some clips. I'm just going to clip this away, actually, this disconnected section, because I want to ensure that I don't disturb it. I'm going to take sections that go horizontally across the head. So through this section here, and they'll measure up to the back. So I'm going to just show you on this angle first. So lift up, I've got the guide from the back. And then cut through. This is going to remain flat layered and it will also be square in shape. So I'll over direct back towards the previous as well. So you can see how that shape works. I'm now going to lift up and cut each section. So take your next section, it's directed back towards your previous section, and then you cut a flat line. We will be working a fringe into this. I'm going to work it in dry later. So I'm just checking the angle. Yeah, it's flat, it's square, flat and square. So what we're doing is we're layering shapes on top of one another. So this is square, we've got this disconnected panel, we've got flat layers, we've got graduation. We're applying the shapes of classic, flat layers, graduation, one lengths, and we're applying them in really creative formats to create something that can be worn in this really beautiful, smooth bob, but then provoked, it will create something totally different. Reaching that section now. And remember, our disconnected panel will be connected to all areas. This would be a great cut for the new Level 3 Hair Professional standards, because you've got a cut from a collection idea that you've developed. So for those that are looking to do Level 3 in the future, this is definitely one of those things, really, because it's created from a collection concept idea. Okay, last two sections and then we're done. Well, we're not done, but we're ready to dry it. So I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to really refine it, and then I'm going to show you how to blend in this disconnection into this really cool shape that we've created. And again, I'll be adding in a fringe. This will be blown without parting, but it could be parted because it still will be long enough. You could part it as well. Again, as well, and that fringe will be refined towards the end. Let's have a look at the length of it. So I might just baseline that. Cool. So I'm really excited to see. So you'll see the basis of something that can be worn in a variety of different angles and different contexts, because it all reaches a perimeter edge. So when we actually do it, again, it can be styled in so many different ways. It can be parted as well. It could be worn forward. I'm going to blow dry it forward so I can refine the fringe. But already what you're seeing is I can actually already demonstrate where the disconnection is. It's here as well. So it's very subtle. And this is what we're saying. It's like contemporary cutting is subtle additions of brilliance, if I dare say so myself. Well, this is not my haircut, to be honest. Somebody else developed it as well. So again, it's and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to blow dry it. I'm going to probably put some straighteners for it as well, so it's super flat, super smooth, and then we'll refine it together on camera. And then I'm going to show you what these disconnected panels can do, what they've got the power to do as well. Okay, guys. So you'll probably see me back in around about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. Maybe half an hour. No, probably not half an hour. So yeah, pop back on, but it will be live for the next 24 hours, so don't worry if you miss it. It's absolutely cool. Okay, see you shortly.
Bye-bye.